One night, as silence wrapped the estate like a velvet shroud, a faint glow from the servants' quarters caught his attention, and what he saw would change a life forever. A young boy, hunched over a notebook, scribbled feverishly under a flickering lamp, his small hands trembling but determined, completely unaware that someone powerful was watching. The billionaire paused at the doorway, frozen by what he saw. Most children in this world spent their nights playing or dreaming, but this boy was different, so focused, so disciplined, that even the dim light could not dim the brilliance in his eyes. His clothes were worn, his hair unkempt, and his surroundings modest, yet there was an unmistakable aura of potential radiating from him. For a moment, the billionaire felt a strange familiarity, a memory of himself years ago, struggling in obscurity, armed only with ambition and knowledge. He could see it clearly now. This boy had a fire in him that no circumstance could extinguish. Carefully, he stepped closer, careful not to startle the child. The boy's pencil scratched the page relentlessly, and he didn't even notice the presence looming behind him. His mother, a longtime maid in the household, had often told stories of her son's hunger for learning, but hearing about it was one thing. Seeing it was another entirely. The boy's dedication was raw, uncompromising, almost shocking. Every line on the notebook, every word written in that dim light, spoke of a determination that refused to be ignored. This was not just ambition. It was genius struggling to break free from a world that had given him nothing. When the boy finally looked up, his eyes widened in surprise. Recognition and fear flickered across his face. Fear that he might be scolded for studying at such a late hour. Recognition of someone who held unimaginable power over his life. But the billionaire's smile was warm, calm, and encouraging. "You're working very hard," he said quietly. The boy blinked, unsure whether to believe him. Praise from someone like him was rare, almost unreal. I want to learn," the boy whispered, his voice steady despite the situation, full of sincerity. The billionaire knelt beside him, examining the neatly written pages. Equations, notes, and ideas filled the notebook, proof that talent could thrive even in the harshest conditions. He thought about his own journey, the countless nights he had stayed up late, driven by dreams bigger than the circumstances that surrounded him. He had known struggle, invisibility, and doubt, and now he saw the same resilience mirrored in this boy. It was extraordinary. It was rare. And he realized, in that quiet, powerful moment, that he could change the course of this child's life forever. He could provide the opportunity the boy deserved, the kind that could turn raw potential into greatness. "Don't stop," the billionaire said firmly, placing a reassuring hand on the boy's shoulder. "Keep pushing. Keep learning. One day, everything you're doing right now will make sense, and you will go further than you can imagine." The boy's eyes glistened with a mix of awe and hope. For the first time, he felt truly seen, recognized not as a servant's child, but as someone capable of extraordinary things. That night, in a room hidden away from wealth and luxury, a promise was quietly made. This boy's life would never be the same. The billionaire left the room with his mind racing. He thought about education, mentorship, and opportunity. He thought about the inequality he had always battled in his own life, and how easily he could now offer a lifeline to a child with ambition and talent beyond measure. As he settled into the comfort of his luxurious bedroom, he replayed the image of the boy's determined eyes, imagining the future they could build together. Every late-night struggle, every sleepless hour under that flickering lamp, now held a new purpose, a chance to rise above circumstances that had never been fair. Outside, the small lamp continued to flicker, barely noticed in the vast darkness of the mansion. Yet inside, a seed had been planted, a seed of hope, opportunity, and transformation. By the next day, actions would be taken, decisions would be made, and the boy's life would begin to change in ways no one could anticipate. In that quiet moment, a billionaire had witnessed the birth of potential so immense it could not be contained, and a boy had been seen in a way he had never been seen before. And in the silence, the mansion itself seemed to hold its breath, knowing that a story was beginning, one that would shock everyone and inspire countless others. The next morning, the billionaire couldn't stop thinking about the boy. Every detail from the night before replayed in his mind. The determination in his eyes, the intensity in his small hands, the way he refused to let darkness stop him from learning. He knew instinctively that this child was special. He wasn't just bright. He was disciplined, relentless, and fearless in pursuit of knowledge. These were qualities rare even among adults, let alone a child barely entering his teenage years. For someone who had built an empire from nothing, the signs were unmistakable. This boy had the potential to achieve greatness. Determined to act, the billionaire called his assistant into the office, his mind already formulating a plan. "I want to meet the boy again," he said, "and I want him to have every opportunity to succeed. Everything we can provide, books, tutoring, mentorship, make it happen." The assistant looked surprised, but the billionaire's tone left no room for argument. "Start today," he commanded. "No delays. I want to see results within weeks." The assistant nodded and left, already coordinating with the household staff. Little did the boy know, his life was about to change in ways he had never imagined. Later that day, the billionaire found himself walking toward the servants' quarters, his presence both intimidating and comforting. The boy was sitting outside on the small steps, trying to finish some reading in the dim morning sunlight. When he saw the billionaire approaching, he froze, unsure whether to run or stay. But there was no anger in the man's eyes, only warmth and interest. "Hello," he said softly. "I saw how hard you were studying last night. Tell me, what is it that makes you work so hard, even in the dark?" The boy hesitated for a moment, then spoke honestly. "I want to learn. I want to do something important with my life. I don't want to stay small." His voice was quiet, but it carried a weight that surprised the billionaire. He smiled, feeling a mix of pride and determination. "Good. That's exactly why I'm here. You don't have to stay small. I can help you learn, and I can give you the tools to succeed. But you have to promise me one thing. You will never stop working, never stop pushing, no matter how hard it gets." The boy nodded eagerly, his heart pounding. It was more than encouragement. It was a chance at a future he had only dreamed of. In that moment, the boy felt something he had never felt before: recognition, validation, and hope, all rolled into one. Over the next few days, the billionaire arranged a private study space for the boy, complete with proper lighting, books, and access to the internet. Tutors were assigned, schedules were created, and slowly, the boy began to immerse himself in learning like never before. Mathematics, science, literature, every subject became a new adventure, a puzzle to solve, a challenge to conquer. The billionaire visited often, not to supervise, but to encourage, to inspire, and to remind the boy that his potential had no limits. Every question the boy asked, every problem he solved, was met with patience, guidance, and praise. The child's confidence began to grow alongside his knowledge, and the transformation was noticeable to everyone who interacted with him. The boy's mother watched in awe as her son flourished. She had always known he was intelligent, but she had never imagined anyone would notice his potential so profoundly, let alone someone as powerful as her employer. Tears would come to her eyes as she watched him study, proud and emotional. She could finally see a future where her son would rise above their circumstances, where poverty and struggle would no longer define him. And for the first time in years, she felt hope that life could be fair, at least in part. Word began to spread quietly among the household staff that something extraordinary was happening. People whispered about the boy's late-night studies, about how the billionaire had taken a personal interest in him, and about the opportunities that were beginning to open up. Some were skeptical, doubting whether the boy could truly handle the pressure, but the billionaire remained unwavering. He had seen something in the boy that others couldn't, the rare spark of genius and determination that could not be extinguished by circumstances. And he was committed to nurturing it, no matter how long it took. As weeks passed, the boy's progress was astonishing. Concepts that had once seemed impossible now came easily to him. He tackled advanced problems with ease, often surprising the tutors with his insight and creativity. The billionaire watched these developments with growing pride, realizing that the boy's talent wasn't just academic. It was practical, innovative, and driven by a hunger to make a difference. And in quiet moments, the billionaire would think back to that night when he had first caught the boy studying in the dark, realizing that one small act of attention, one moment of recognition, had ignited a journey that could change the boy's entire life. But not everyone in the mansion welcomed this change. Some staff members were envious, some doubted the billionaire's judgment, and a few whispered that a servant's child didn't belong in a world of privilege and opportunity. The boy, however, remained unfazed. Encouraged by the billionaire's belief in him, he refused to listen to negativity. Each day, he proved that his place wasn't defined by the color of his skin or the status of his family, but by his talent, perseverance, and vision. Every late night, every challenging lesson, every small victory strengthened him, and the world around him began to take notice. And then came the day when the billionaire decided it was time for the boy to face a real challenge, a test not just of knowledge, but of courage, creativity, and resilience. A project would be assigned, one that could either make him shine or reveal weaknesses he didn't yet know he had. The boy, unaware of the scale of what was coming, felt a mixture of excitement and fear. For the first time, he realized that this journey was not just about learning. It was about proving to himself and to the world that he was capable of greatness. And as he prepared, guided by the billionaire's unwavering support, a quiet determination settled in his heart. No matter the outcome, he would give everything he had. The day of the project arrived, and the boy felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness he had never experienced before. The billionaire had called him into his private office, a room filled with books, awards, and symbols of wealth that would have intimidated anyone else. But the boy stood tall, determined not to let fear control him. "Today," the billionaire said, his voice calm yet commanding, "you will show me what you are capable of. This is not just about what you know. It's about how you think, how you solve problems, and how you rise to challenges." The boy nodded, his hands trembling slightly, but his mind already racing with ideas. The project was deceptively simple. The billionaire handed him a small stack of materials and asked him to design a solution to a real-world problem. It was a test of creativity, intelligence, and practical skill, a challenge that could easily overwhelm a child his age. Yet, as the boy examined the materials, a spark lit in his eyes. He began sketching, calculating, and experimenting with a focus so intense that the world outside seemed to vanish. The billionaire watched silently, amazed at the precision and originality with which the boy approached the task. Every move he made, every idea he proposed, reflected not just intelligence, but a deep understanding of strategy and innovation far beyond his years. Hours passed, and the boy continued to work, fueled by determination and the rare opportunity to show his potential. The billionaire occasionally offered guidance, subtle nudges to help him think in different directions, but he never interfered. He understood that true growth came from challenge, not hand-holding. And as the sun began to set, the boy finally stepped back, exhausted but proud, revealing a solution that was both elegant and practical. The billionaire leaned forward, examining the work closely, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, a smile spread across his face, a smile of disbelief, admiration, and triumph all at once. "You did this?" he asked, genuinely astonished. The boy nodded, barely able to hide his nervous anticipation. "Yes, sir," he said softly. "I tried my best." The billionaire stood, walking around the table to get a closer look. "Your best?" he repeated, shaking his head in amazement. "This is far beyond what I expected. You have talent, vision, and determination, a combination that is rare, especially in someone your age. I can promise you this. You have a future no one could have imagined for you, and I will do everything I can to help you reach it." The boy's eyes widened, the words sinking in. He had never heard anything like this before. Not from teachers, not from classmates, not even from his own mother. This was validation from someone who could truly change his life. Word of the boy's accomplishment quickly spread, discreetly, within the mansion. Staff members who had doubted him now looked at him with respect, some even with awe. It wasn't long before the billionaire began to introduce him to new opportunities, advanced courses, mentorship from experts, access to resources most children could only dream of. The boy's life was transforming rapidly, and with each day, he grew more confident, more capable, and more determined to prove that he deserved every chance being offered. He was no longer a child studying in the dark. He was a young mind being nurtured to shine brilliantly, to break boundaries that had once seemed insurmountable. But with opportunity came pressure. The boy began to realize that his journey was no longer just about learning. It was about responsibility. Every success, every accomplishment carried weight. Failure was not an option, and the expectations were high. There were moments of doubt, moments when he questioned whether he was truly capable, moments when exhaustion and fear threatened to take over. Yet, each time he faltered, he remembered the night the billionaire had found him studying in the dark and the promise that had been silently made, that his potential would never go unnoticed. That memory became his anchor, reminding him why he had started, why he had to continue, and why he could not give up. As months passed, the boy's transformation became undeniable. He spoke with confidence, approached problems with strategy, and began to see the world differently. He understood the power of opportunity, the value of mentorship, and the importance of perseverance. The billionaire watched this growth with a mixture of pride and satisfaction, realizing that his decision to intervene had unlocked a talent that could one day influence the world. He had seen brilliance before, but rarely had he encountered someone who combined raw intelligence with unshakable determination at such a young age. And now, he was witnessing the evolution of that brilliance into something extraordinary. Then came the day that would truly test the boy, a public event arranged by the billionaire. It was a showcase, an opportunity for the boy to present his work, ideas, and vision to a wider audience, including experts, business leaders, and innovators. The pressure was immense. This was no longer a private challenge. This was a moment that could define his future. But as he stepped onto the stage, under bright lights and in front of hundreds of people, he remembered the dark room, the flickering lamp, and the quiet promise that had set this journey in motion. That memory fueled him, steadied him, and transformed his nervous energy into focus and clarity. When he began presenting, the audience was captivated. Every word, every idea, every solution demonstrated a maturity and intelligence that left everyone in awe. Questions were asked, challenges were thrown, and the boy answered with precision, insight, and calm confidence. By the end of the presentation, the room erupted in applause. Experts shook their heads in amazement, whispering about the brilliance of someone so young. And amidst the crowd, the billionaire watched, smiling quietly, knowing that he had witnessed not just a moment of success, but the emergence of a future leader, a mind that would go on to achieve the unimaginable. The weeks following the boy's public success were a whirlwind. Invitations to exclusive workshops, networking events, and mentorship programs poured in. But the billionaire made sure the boy remained grounded. Talent alone isn't enough, he reminded him one afternoon as they walked through the mansion's grand library. You need character, resilience, and humility. Never forget where you started or who believed in you when no one else did. The boy nodded, absorbing every word. He had come a long way from studying in the dark, and he knew that every opportunity carried responsibility. His dreams were no longer just personal. They had the potential to impact others, and he was determined to honor that. However, not everyone was pleased with his rise. Some in the mansion, jealous of the attention and opportunities he now received, whispered behind his back. They questioned whether a servant's child truly deserved this chance. The boy heard some of the whispers, and for the first time, doubt crept into his mind. Was he ready for this? Did he truly belong in this world of wealth and influence? The billionaire noticed the change in him and decided it was time for a more personal lesson. He invited the boy to his private study, a room filled with artifacts from his own journey. Do you see all this? He asked, gesturing to the shelves lined with books, awards, and mementos of challenges overcome. Every piece of success here was earned through struggle, mistakes, and resilience. No one handed it to me, and no one will hand it to you. The difference is, I believe you can do it. The boy felt a surge of determination. The billionaire's words reminded him of why he had started in the first place. Every late night, every flickering lamp, every obstacle had prepared him for this moment. He realized that the jealousy and doubt of others were irrelevant. What mattered was his own dedication and the support of those who truly believed in him. With renewed focus, he committed himself fully to the opportunities being presented. He wasn't just studying anymore. He was building, innovating, and creating a path that could change not only his life, but also inspire others like him. One evening, the billionaire arranged a special meeting. He wanted to give the boy a challenge that would truly test his character and potential. A charitable foundation struggling to develop an educational program for underprivileged children, had asked for assistance. The billionaire decided the boy would lead the project, giving him full responsibility and authority. It was a huge risk, entrusting a child with such a task, but the billionaire knew the boy was ready. "This is your chance to show not just your intelligence, but your heart," he said. "Lead with vision, creativity, and compassion. Make a difference, not just for yourself, but for others who are fighting against the odds." The boy's eyes widened. He felt the weight of the responsibility, but he also felt empowered. This was more than a project. It was a chance to leave a mark on the world. The boy threw himself into the work, coordinating with educators, designing curricula, and organizing resources. He encountered obstacles, budget constraints, logistical problems, and skeptical partners, but each challenge strengthened his resolve. The billionaire remained by his side, offering advice and guidance, but never taking over. The boy learned how to lead, how to make decisions under pressure, and how to inspire others to follow his vision. For the first time, he understood that intelligence alone was not enough. Leadership required courage, empathy, and resilience. And as the program began to take shape, he realized that he was capable of far more than he had ever imagined. Then came the day when everything changed, forever. The Foundation's board, impressed by the boy's initiative, invited him to present the program at a high-profile gala attended by influential figures from around the country. It was an opportunity of a lifetime, and the boy knew it. As he stepped onto the stage, dressed neatly but modestly, the crowd erupted in applause. Cameras flashed, and whispers of admiration spread through the audience. The boy's voice was steady as he outlined his vision, explained the program's impact, and shared his personal story. He spoke of late nights studying in the dark, of the belief the billionaire had placed in him, and of the dream to create opportunities for children like himself. By the end of his presentation, the room was silent for a heartbeat, and then erupted into a standing ovation. People were moved, inspired, and astonished. A child, born into humble circumstances, had not only demonstrated brilliance, but had also led a project with the potential to transform lives. The billionaire watched from the side, his chest swelling with pride. He knew that this moment would be remembered, not for him, but for the boy whose courage, intelligence, and determination had defied every expectation. After the gala, the billionaire pulled the boy aside. "Do you see now what I told you?" he asked. "Your potential is limitless. But remember, it's not just about success. It's about impact, integrity, and perseverance. This is only the beginning." The boy nodded, tears in his eyes, overwhelmed by the realization of what he had achieved. In that moment, he understood that the flickering lamp, the dark nights, and the struggle were not obstacles. They were the foundation of his strength. And as he looked at the billionaire, he silently promised himself that he would honor the trust, guidance, and belief that had been placed in him. That night, the boy returned home, a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration running through him. He glanced at the small corner where he once studied under a dim light, remembering the long hours of effort, sacrifice, and determination. He realized that nothing had been wasted. Every moment of struggle had led to this, a life-changing opportunity, recognition, and the chance to make a real difference. And as he closed his eyes, he knew that his journey was just beginning. The world was finally starting to notice him, and he was ready to rise, no longer a child in the shadows, but a young mind destined to shine brightly. The following weeks were a whirlwind of opportunities and recognition. The boy, once hidden in the shadows, was now being invited to programs, mentorship sessions, and events that most children could only dream of. His story began to circulate quietly at first, then more publicly. How a young boy studying under a flickering lamp had caught the attention of a billionaire and transformed his life. But despite all the attention and praise, he remained humble, remembering the countless nights of struggle and the small, quiet corner where his journey had truly begun. One evening, the billionaire decided to introduce the boy to something he had never experienced: real influence. He took him to his corporate office, a towering glass building filled with sharp minds and powerful people who made decisions that shaped industries. "Tonight," the billionaire said, "you'll meet leaders, innovators, and changemakers. I want you to see the world you can be a part of. But remember, it's not about fitting in. It's about making an impact." The boy's heart raced. He had been given guidance and resources, but stepping into this world was entirely different. It was intimidating, dazzling, and full of expectations. Yet, as he walked through the doors, he felt something inside him shift. This was no longer a dream. This was reality, and he belonged. The boy's introduction to the boardroom was met with polite curiosity. Executives whispered among themselves, skeptical of a child's presence in such a high-powered environment. But the billionaire simply smiled and gestured toward the boy. Listen to him. He's not here by accident, he said. What you see in front of you is potential, determination, and intelligence beyond his years. The boy stepped forward, presenting his ideas for a new philanthropic initiative aimed at helping underprivileged children access education. His voice was calm, confident, and articulate, each word chosen carefully, each point supported by logic and vision. The room fell silent. What began as polite skepticism transformed into astonishment. Every question thrown at him, every challenge posed, he answered with clarity and insight that left seasoned executives stunned. They were witnessing a child not only think like a leader, but act like one, someone who could inspire, innovate, and implement solutions that mattered. Murmurs of admiration spread across the room, and by the end of his presentation, the executives were on their feet, applauding, some shaking their heads in disbelief. A child, a son of a maid, had just captivated some of the most influential people in the country. The billionaire watched quietly, pride swelling in his chest. He remembered the night he had found the boy studying under the dim lamp, exhausted and alone, and realized how far he had come. "Do you see?" he asked softly, as the applause subsided. "This is what I meant when I said your potential is limitless. You didn't just rise from darkness, you shone through it. And now, the world is finally beginning to notice." The boy's eyes glistened with tears. He had never imagined this life, never imagined this power, this recognition, or this responsibility. And yet, here he was, living proof that determination, talent, and the belief of one person could change a life forever. But the most shocking moment was yet to come. As the event concluded, the billionaire made an announcement that stunned everyone present. "This young man," he said, his voice carrying across the room, "will now become part of my foundation. He will lead initiatives, mentor others, and represent our vision for the future. I am giving him the tools, the platform, and the resources to not only succeed, but to create opportunities for others who are overlooked and underestimated. He is no longer just a student. He is a leader." Gasps filled the room. The executives looked at each other in disbelief. A child, barely a teenager, being entrusted with this level of responsibility? It was unprecedented. And yet, seeing his calm, confident demeanor, they realized it was exactly the right decision. The boy felt a mix of shock, pride, and overwhelming gratitude. The life he had once imagined while riding under a flickering lamp was now unfolding before him in ways he had never dared to dream. His mother, who had watched from the back, could hardly contain her tears. She had always believed in her son, but no words could describe the moment of seeing him validated, recognized, and given the chance to change not only his life, but the lives of countless others. Her humble prayers, whispered for years, had been answered in the most extraordinary way. From that day on, the boy's life transformed completely. Education became a journey of innovation and leadership rather than survival. He gained confidence, skill, and recognition, and most importantly, he never forgot where he came from. The flickering lamp, the long nights, and the belief of one billionaire remained his anchor, a reminder that perseverance, courage, and support could overcome any obstacle. And as he walked through the mansion, now a mentor, a leader, and an inspiration, he realized that true success was not about wealth or status. It was about impact, opportunity, and the courage to rise above adversity. Years later, the boy, now a young man, stood before an audience of thousands, telling his story. He spoke of darkness, struggle, and determination. He spoke of a billionaire who had seen potential when no one else did. And he spoke of hope, opportunity, and the power of belief. The audience listened, captivated, inspired, and moved to action. A life that had once been confined to shadows now illuminated the world. And it all began with one quiet night, one flickering lamp, and the unwavering determination of a young boy who refused to stay small. The billionaire watched from the back of the auditorium, smiling quietly. He knew that he had not only changed a life, but had witnessed the rise of someone extraordinary, someone whose brilliance, resilience, and heart would inspire generations to come. That night, in the silence of the crowd, the boy's journey had reached a pinnacle, but it was only the beginning of a story that would continue to shock, inspire, and transform everyone who heard it. And the world would never forget how greatness can emerge from the most unexpected places, when courage meets opportunity, and when someone believes in you when no one else does. Thank you for watching this incredible journey of determination, courage, and life-changing opportunities. If this story inspired you even a little, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more powerful, real-life stories that will shock and motivate you. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that could change the way you see the world.